the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, topics, stipulations, first down, played it. Presenting topics for Kanye, to Tom Brady. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back from All Noise Radio. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. Man, you just when you think the NBA, talked about it the other day on Tuesday, just when you thought the NBA was kind of silent down a little, man, another bombshell announcement last night. I think it was like around maybe 9 o'clock-ish that the breaking news, and I called you right away. Ladies and gentlemen, to all basketball fans, and to fans that think the NBA is boring, this upcoming season is going to be like any other season in the past 20 years. Since I've been watching basketball, I don't think I've been more excited for upcoming season. The future.
We said that this year,
This offseason, to me, is more about the future and what this future of the NBA is going to be like. Teams like the Atlanta Hawks, teams like the New Orleans Pelicans, even the OKC Thunder is going to be new. It's going to be brand new. A team that, we're so used to seeing Russell Westbrook on this team. Gone. All new faces, all new teams. The future is so bright. It's almost as bright as it is outside for the NBA. The future is going to be unreal. And if you're an NBA fan or you're a sports fan, then you got to be excited with the NBA. I know you're excited. I know I'm excited. I can't wait.
I am excited. But I've been thinking about this. Do I like it? Do I like the player movement?
Some people may say no.
It depends where your process of thinking comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like me, if you're a Magic fan and you had Shaq and Dwight Howard, you're like,
and Penny Hardaway too.
And those guys all left. It sucks. It does. It's unfortunate because you're a Magic fan, and an opportunity to get guys like doesn't happen that often. So having a superstar like Shaquille O'Neal or Dwight Howard, and then for them to both leave, crushes you as a fan.
Well,
that's what's great in the sense of baseball and football. You don't have that much player movement. But then I look at it from an overall standpoint, and I look at it from our side, Trev, as radio guys, podcast guys that we enjoy in sports. I actually love it. I don't think any sport. Now, football is the most popular sport. Football, NFL last year made $15 billion.
Mm-hmm.
The second most popular sport in America last year was NBA, and it's not even close. For money-wise, they only made $7 billion. So they're making about half the amount of the NFL. But if you were making a movie or a story or writing a book, the NBA is the best movie or book on the market. Their intrigue throughout this year is unbelievable. The storyline, the soap operas, like you said it perfectly. You think about the free agency. Free agency is almost better than the playoffs during the regular season. All the player movement, the excitement, the opportunity. If you're an Oklahoma City Thunder fan, you got to look back and say, man, the last 11 years have been great. We had opportunities to win championships. It never worked out. And now we're going to rebuild. And it's going to stink. It's going to hurt for a while because you've had 3 of the top 5 or 6 best players in the NBA the past 10 years. Kevin Durant is the top 3 player. James Harden is a top 5 player. Russell Westbrook has had triple-doubles for 3 consecutive years.
As Adam Shine said, and I was listening to this, and he's 100% spot on, it may go down as the greatest what if in all of sports history. Think about that. There was 3 All-Stars. You can count Ibaka if you want, because he was an All-Star at the time, and he was looking like he was going to be one of those those dominant defenders in the game. You had 3 top top 25 players. You could put Ibaka wherever. You had 4 players in that mix, and you were talking about 4 players that at one point were under 25 and looking like going to be all superstars.
That was a super team before a super team was even a thought process. Now, we didn't realize those guys. You said to me just before we went on the show, you go, we didn't know James Harden was going to be that good. No, I did think James Harden
I didn't think
he
he'd be a top
six
or 7 player in the game.
But he was a 6 man. He never really got his shot.
I just didn't see him being a 6. I could have saw Westbrook and Durant becoming more stars.
I never understood why he was
James
coming
Harden.
off the bench, but I understand it from a perspective, something that the Lakers.
Why was Manu Ginobili always coming off the bench? Why was Jamal Crawford?
Well, because
why is Lou Williams coming off the bench? Guys that were so talented
because
coming
you
off
have
the bench.
to have somebody come off your second team.
That's what I'm telling you.
Just like what the Lakers are thinking about with Kuzma.
Yeah. So I'm
because
talking.
they're gonna need some type of scoring.
I mean, ladies and gentlemen, the duos in the NBA, and we're not even talking about.
Remember? It was Nick Collison,
Yeah.
Serge Ibaka. Could have been Durant at the 3, Harden at the 2, and Russell Westbrook at the 1. And they had those 3 guys in consecutive years.
The duos in the NBA, and we're not even talking about the current duos, not the new duos that just happened overnight in the NBA. We're talking about the current ones. You have Embiid, and you have Embiid and Simmons. You have Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell.
Giannis and Middleton.
Giannis and Middleton, if you want to do. Tatum and Kemba. Those are new ones. But Jimmy Butler, you were hoping maybe Miami would make the move.
Well, hey, listen, Clay and Curry.
Clay and Curry, that's going to be there.
Go down the list. You can name
There's
them
about 10 or 12 dominant all-star duos that in this current NBA landscape right now.
Lillard and McCollum. CJ McCollum. Jokic and Jamal Murray.
That's another one. I mean, you're just
I
naming.
can go
about
down. I can go.
You're probably
down the
naming
list.
about half of the teams in the NBA right now that have a superstar / all-star and a really good 2 or 3rd option right there.
And that's what the NBA should. That's what we want anyways. That's what we've wanted. We didn't want 4 all-stars on a team. We wanted 2 with a bunch of great role players and maybe that 3rd guy. So you got Anthony Davis. I'm gonna use the Lakers for example. You got Anthony Davis and you got LeBron James. They're superstars. Mm-hmm. But then you got that 3rd guy, that reliable guy, that scorer, that guy like Kuzma. When I look at it, it's like Jordan and Pippen. They're the 2 aces in the hole, and whoever the 3rd guy, it could have been Tony Kukoc, could have been Dennis Rodman, whoever you wanted it to be.
Could have been Steve Kerr, could have been guys like that. They were so much depth in the league, and that's what you're starting to see more with these teams too, though. Like the Lakers have Anthony Davis, and they got LeBron, but they got depth. The Clippers have depth. These teams, and the Celtics, another team, the Nets, all these teams that got these superstar players now, and you could put with the Rockets as well now. There's depth amongst these teams.
So
they have 2 superstars, but they have the depth. So let's get into the trade last night.
I know you're going to get into the trade, and I'm going to ask a question before you get into the trade. We did a show the other day. I believe it was Tuesday.
Correct.
And you know how I said about the Rockets. I put the Rockets somewhere in the top 4, and you go, absolutely not. With this trade, do you now consider the Rockets one of the top 3 favorites in the West? Would you put them in the top 4?
This is definitely the 2 of the greatest regular season players of all time. If we have an All-NBA season, All-NBA players with 2 of them, I wouldn't be surprised if both of them are on because those 2 players, we talk about. These are the 2 players in the league
that shoot the most?
No, not even that. Every year when it comes to postseason time, they are the greatest players in the regular season. But when it comes to postseason time, they go MIA. They go missing in action.
Yes, but that's also because they play the hardest. They shoot the most. They've been.
But that's what I'm saying. They use all the amount of energy in the game in the regular season.
Do you realize they're the 2 best assist men in the NBA the past 3 years? Mm-hmm. They've been 1 and 2 the last 3 years in shot attempts, assists, minutes.
And what has that gotten them?
Well, listen.
What has that gotten them?
We've understand. Oh, hold on. It hasn't.
What has that gotten them?
It hasn't gotten them a championship, but
it's got them an MVP each of them, which is fine.
Up until what Kawhi Leonard's done, and realistically, Kawhi Leonard has changed the entire landscape of the NBA.
This whole NBA offseason,
everything, because when he decided to choose the Clippers, it was a domino effect with everyone else. I know there was Anthony Davis's move. but it made the Paul George move happen. So then the Thunder realized, okay, we got to regroup. Then the Westbrook move went. And then all these other teams, everyone else is trying to bid for this. And it was a change. Literally, what Kawhi did to not only load management, that's going to play a major role going forward. See, remember the thing we used to talk about, and LeBron James was the front runner. He was taking games off, didn't want to play in back-to-back games. We used to watch Skip and Stephen A.
First take,
and they used to go at it, and they used to be like, Michael Jordan played in all 82 games. That's what real guys. That's what true
warriors.
Warriors are. You play in every game. You don't sit out. But what Kawhi Leonard just did proves that you need to. Because if you want to be James Harden and Russell Westbrook and you want to play 82 games, that's great. And we want that as fans because when I go pay $300 to go see James Harden in Houston, I expect him to be playing. I don't want him sitting on the bench. That's why I'm paying $300 to go see James Harden play. I'm not going to see the sixth man and the seventh man. I pay to see James Harden.
Let me ask you a question about this whole Westbrook thing. Why does he get such a bad rap in the NBA? And a guy like Chris Paul, who you said people have gone after him, but I don't see it not nearly as much as Russell Westbrook gets criticized throughout the league. From players, from people in this field. He gets ripped apart. And it feels like to me that Chris Paul gets more of a pass than Russell Westbrook.
It's a good question because they both haven't won nothing. They have won nothing.
Russell Westbrook, if anything, has more accolades. He'll go down as the second player only to ever average a triple-double in a season. He'll have an MVP. Chris Paul never had any of that.
He did a triple-double 3 years in a row.
If you want to look up career-wise, Russell Westbrook may go down as having better stats than Chris Paul. But why does Chris Paul? Wasn't he the same?
He'll easily go down.
But why does Chris Paul get a pass? Wasn't he the same guy that was on a Clippers team that we all thought was so talented enough to win a title? And what happened? I know there was injuries. Unfortunate, but still, even when he was there, he underperformed, and that team underperformed. They let him go because there was always issues within the locker room, and Chris Paul was the main leader of that team. Why did he get dealt? Why do we never say anything bad about Chris Paul? But we always want to rip Russell Westbrook. Oh, Paul George doesn't want to play with him. Oh, Kevin Durant doesn't want to play with him. Oh, all these guys, Victor Oladipo, look how much better they all are after they leave. But why does Chris Paul not get that kind of same reputation in the league? Oh, because he's the VP or is the former president associate of the NBA Players Association, so he gets a pass? Oh, it's okay, Chris. You're good to us, so we like you. But Russell Westbrook, you're so mean and you're so angry and you always want to take out.
But his teammates enjoy playing with Russell Westbrook. A lot of teammates.
I mean, who would you rather play with?
Kendrick Perkins.
Who would you rather play with?
Kendrick Perkins came on thing and said a lot of people do not like Chris Paul playing with him because of his attitude. He has a bad attitude in the sense if he doesn't.
You could just see it on the court, bro.
He doesn't accept blame, and he doesn't work well with others.
How can you not want to play with a guy like Russell Westbrook? The guy gives it.
So let's see. Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook are similar. They both have won nothing.
Except
Russell. I'm talking team. We're talking team. They haven't won anything. They haven't.
No, they haven't. I mean, Chris Paul probably had the best shot. That Thunder team, yes, they got to the finals. Was too young.
So you said Chris Paul. You meant Russell Westbrook.
No, Chris Paul had a better shot. That Thunder team was too young, and LeBron was on a mission that year.
Chris Paul wasn't on the Thunder.
He was on the Clippers I'm talking about.
Yeah, but you just said Chris Paul had his best shot, and you said
he had his best shot with the Clippers, and they blew it. They had a legitimate shot. Not all the time.
He got hurt every year, and then Blake Griffin
Not every year. But they always had to trade him. There was always an issue within the locker room.
Blake Griffin got hurt. Chris Paul got hurt.
I know. I'm not saying every year they did.
I know. And they also blew a 3-1 lead, right?
3-1 lead to Houston. I'm sorry. You're supposed to. So did Golden State, but still. This team, they had a better shot. That OKC team that made it to the finals that year was probably more talented than that Heat team, but they were still immature and too young to handle the moment.
So do you have the trade up in front of you?
Yeah, I'm looking at all the trades. I'm looking at what OKC has now. They have Chris Paul, Gallinari, Alexander, the point guard from the former Clipper, 2021 Houston. Do we really want me to go through all these draft
No.
There's
I just wanted you to talk about what Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook's trade. Pretty much the trade was.
Yeah, it was 2 draft picks and Chris Paul for Russell Westbrook.
And they swapped 2 other picks.
And that was it.
Okay, so here's my thing. I don't like the trade from the Oklahoma City Thunder standpoint.
Well, if they trade
Okay,
Chris
first
Paul,
of all-
they're going to trade Chris Paul.
Okay,
he's going to go.
Okay, and
He's not going to stay with OKC.
I know that. So you picked up 2 first-round picks in the future, which no one cares about 2025 and 2026. It's a waste. We don't even know what the NBA landscape is going to be like in 7 years. This is not the NFL.
I know LeBron James won't be playing.
And here's the other thing. This is not the NFL. This is a lottery. You don't know where you're going to go. You have to be like the Pelicans and be lucky and hit it in the right year, the right time, and hit like on a Zion or LeBron James like the Cleveland Cavaliers did. Mm-hmm. With that being said, how could you not ask for Eric Gordon? How could you not ask for someone else to make the trade? You're giving up now the contracts. Okay, so Russell Westbrook had 4 years with 171, and Chris Paul had 3 years with about 117. Russell Westbrook's last year is going to be making $46 million a year. So you literally the contracts were just a slide with 1 extra year going to Russell Westbrook. But Russell Westbrook is 30 years old. Chris Paul is 34 years old. 33, 34. So he'll be 37 time he ends. Chris Paul is no longer the player. He can't shoot no more. He can't. I watch him. He can barely get off the ground. He leans back on every shot. He's not the same player.
I'm just sick and tired of people always ripping Westbrook and saying, "Oh, he's garbage." The guy's had 3 triple-doubles seasons consecutive.
He is a stat pattern.
I know he's a stat pattern, but you know what? I'd rather play with Russell Westbrook than a Chris Paul. Chris Paul gets an easy pass, and he gets the pat on the back, and everybody has no issue with him. But he's done nothing. This was a guy that we thought was going to go down as one of the top 5 or 6 greatest point guards of all time, maybe. And he's won nothing. He's done nothing. I know Westbrook. Yes, he has an MVP. He hasn't won a title. I think this could be a better fit for James Harden because they know one another.
They get along very well.
They know one another. They were great together.
Question for you. We got into it a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks. Is Jason Tatum still has the most pressure on him going forward now after knowing everything you know now? Or do you want to change, change your opinion on that?
I still think Jason Tatum's one of the players in the league that face a lot of pressure going into the season. I'll come back on my statement about that.
How about these two guys? How about these 2 guys?
Without question.
Their starting lineup might be the best starting lineup in the NBA.
I don't know.
Russell at the 1, Harden at the 2, Eric Gordon with the 3. You got Clint Capella and P.J. Tucker.
I like the Clippers.
I
because of their defensive. Patrick Beverley knows how to guard Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, he does.
Kawhi can guard James Harden. We've seen it before. Or Paul George. Paul George can guard whenever. Either one. Doesn't matter. You have 3 All-NBA defenders. Montrezl and Zubac as well. I mean, they have a very young, athletic, and a great defensive team.
What you like about that team is the defense, where Houston doesn't play defense. But I'll put it this way. Russell Westbrook and James Harden can pick your pocket if they want to, man. Those guys could easily lead the league in steals.
Teams like there's 2 teams. I'm glad the Magic didn't trade for Westbrook, even though I would have liked to see it, but I know it would have gave up a lot. No. And the Knicks. I'm glad the Knicks didn't
stuck with the youth movement.
I'm glad the Knicks didn't throw in like a Kevin Knox or Mitchell Robinson and throw a boatload of their draft picks and the young talent for one guy. I know it's good to have, and I was talking to Pete about it last night. But they ain't getting any better with Russell Westbrook.
No, because you're going to get the same thing you got in Oklahoma City Thunder.
It would be great to see a Russell Westbrook in the Knicks if they had players around them, but they don't. They have young talent. You put them on the Knicks, ain't going to make no difference.
I like that the Knicks didn't do that too because they didn't. Okay,
I'm disappointed.
Just because everyone else made a move, I got to go make a move.
I'm disappointed.
You built through the youth movement. You built through the future, and you proved to all the other free agents and the future guys that are going to be NBA stars that listen. We can build with youth. We're going to do it the right way. We're going to give our guys the opportunity, and we're going to show that our front office and management can handle it and do it the right way, like the Clippers can.
I am disappointed that the Miami Heat. I'm surprised too. Disappointed and surprised that the Miami Heat did not go after him, but they stayed to it because they didn't want to get package away Tyler Hero. He's been great. I mean, he's going to be he's going to be like a Devin Booker.
I like him better in Houston.
That's fine. No,
and I like. Let me put it this way.
I mean, no, that's fine.
In the D'Antonio system, he's probably the most gifted offensive-minded coach in the game.
Yeah, I mean that's always been his strength, Ted. Since coaching, it's always been the defensive problem.
It's gonna be fun to watch. I said on my buddy's Facebook page yesterday, we're talking about the trade and everything. I said. The NBA just got even more intriguing. I said, well, of course it did. I said, it's been intriguing. But here's the thing. it's so front loaded with the West. The West is so damn dominant. It's not even funny. I don't look at anyone in the East even close to anyone in the West. I joked with somebody. I said the Spurs would be a top 4 seed in the East.
I'm sorry, but I just don't. I don't see a team like the Sixers.
Okay, so the Sixers.
I don't see the team.
Sixers don't have a guy that can shoot.
Yeah, they're going to be
When
terrified
I say,
to shoot the three.
Give me the ball and make
Yeah.
a shot. Who's that guy? It's not Tobias Harris. It would have been Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Okay, Ben Simmons can't shoot, and him and B clog up the lane. So you,
And the Bucks.
Okay, and the Bucks. It all depends on Giannis. Can Giannis develop a shot and be that playmaker that's really going to make the difference? Because I'm telling you that Malcolm Brogdon loss is going to be big. I know they got the Lopez brothers and they
Mirotic going away too is going to hurt
Mirotic.
them a while. That's going to hurt them.
And here's the thing: the Celtics, say what you want to say, without Kyrie and without Al Horford, they're going to take a step back.
Yeah, of course.
Now,
All those
I heard
teams.
some rumors that they might go after Steven Adams if the Thunder go for a full rebuild. Now,
We'll
he has
see.
a $25 million contract, his yearly salary coming up this year. So that would be something nice for the Celtics because they need a big guy inside, physical presence who can give them 15 to 20 points and can give them 10 to 15 rebounds a game. Now you're looking at, okay, now you got Jaylen Brown and Tatum and Hayward.
Look, all
with
these
Steven Adams and Kemba Walker. Now I put the Celtics as a top 3 team. Other than that, in the East, who else do you really consider serious? Not the Pacers.
It's funny. It's funny that
The East is garbage again.
to
The East
see
is garbage.
to see all these great trades coming and all these player movements that's been happening in the past couple weeks. It's back to the Eastern Conference
It's being garbage again.
getting bad once again. You lose Kawhi Leonard. Yeah, it's a little more opened up now. Who's coming out of the East? But now it just shows that the West is back on top, and it's all
The West
dominant
is so
in the
loaded.
West. Oh, there's oh man.
The Warriors might be a 7 seed next year. The Spurs might not make the playoffs.
Let me ask you one more final question before we go to break.
Dude, I wrote down the dynamic duos. I was going to ask. Go ahead.
Oh well, no, ask me to no. Go ahead. Yeah, you did right. Well,
I was just going to
your
ask you.
number one dynamic duo.
If you had to rank the top 3 dynamic duos in basketball right now, because that's what we're seeing.
I would still put Clay and Curry as my number one because I know what they've done. I know what they've done.
That's going to be your okay. No, listen,
I'm not saying they're going to be like they're going to win
listen,
the West next year.
I was going to back off and relax.
But
I
you
was
were going to
just
say that's who you pick.
Well, I asked you, and that's what you said. So I got.
Who are you going to pick?
That's your
LeBron
pick.
and Anthony Davis, Kawhi and I'll put Kawhi and Paul George at 2, and then Anthony Davis and LeBron at 3. If that's what you want me to add. But the only reason why I say it is because Clay and Curry have been doing it since coming into the league together. They have that connection. It just sucks that Clay's going to be out for most of the year next year. But they have the most chemistry together.
Where would you put Kyrie and Kevin Durant?
Probably 4.
Really?
Yeah. I think the two, I mean, Kawhi and Paul George, that's a better duo than Kevin Durant and Kyrie. And Anthony Davis and LeBron. You're not going to tell me that.
I wish some of these teams were in the East. I do. But it's.
No, it would have been a lot better if Kevin Durant's injury. That will be one of the big question marks going in the future of the NBA is that Achilles injury. Because if Kevin Durant doesn't get injured, that just opens up even more in the East. And it adds a little more appeal to the Eastern Conference side because now you have a dynamic duo with Durant and Kyrie Irving and whoever comes out of the West.
I bet you it might not happen during this offseason, but it'll happen probably during the season. I bet you the Wizards make a move. Washington.
I'm surprised they
have. Bradley Beal and John Wall.
That was one of the teams you thought would be. I'm surprised they haven't made a move yet, but 2 bad contracts.
Maybe Bradley Beal will go down to Miami to play with Jimmy Butler.
All I know is
that would be a good team.
Russell Westbrook, 11 years strong.
Like
11 years strong.
Like the trade?
Never really wanted to leave, but he felt like it was time, and he agreed. Him and Presti came to an agreement, and you know what? Chris Paul, people got to stop giving him a pass. Got to stop giving him a pass.
Before you go to break, I want
to ask you one more question. I'm still not done.
Oh, okay.
2 teams that traded 2 superstars this year. Which team probably is maybe easy for you, but which team will benefit more in the future? The Pelicans or the Thunder from these trades?
I'm going to say the Pelicans.
Is it because of Zion?
No, it has
or
nothing,
the draft, or just
it
the
has nothing
draft
to do
or
with
the
Zion.
players they got?
It has nothing to do with Zion. It's because of the guys that they got for Lakers, guys that I've already seen play. The guys that the Thunder got, okay, they got Gallinari and they got the kid Alexander. Okay, that's nice. And they got some nice pieces there. You got Steven Adams. They got the kid Schrader.
Yeah.
And they got a couple other nice pieces. But they really what their process was about draft picks. And there's so much unknown about their draft picks. And that's the question. We're talking about draft picks okay, that's their team. We're talking about their draft picks in 2025 and 2026 and 2024. All right, Trev, that's 5, 6, 7. We don't know. I mean, the high school kids will be coming out. We just don't know. And at least I could say, I could say if I can get a healthy Lonzo Ball, if I can get a healthy Brandon Ingram, I got a Josh Hart. And of course, then I got Zion with the pick. And I got the 4th pick from the Lakers, which I end up flipping it and getting other pieces. That's why I like that so much more. So
I think Joe's ready.
I
think Joe's ready. All in all,
this is what the argument I had with Joe, though, is I said the NBA now is the best it's ever been, popularity and everything else. And Joe said no, he thinks the 70s and 80s were. And I said just because of now with team movement, there's so much more popularity in players. Mm-hmm. But I had
social media. And
I had this question. Uncle Jerry said the 70s was the best time for the NBA. Dad said the 80s.
They're also old timers.
But but he said only the 80s.
I wasn't alive back in the 80s or 70s.
And the reason why I say
I wasn't a thought.
Okay, and here's the thing. The reason why I say it's better now is because we can name 10 to 12 teams that have a legitimate chance to win the championship. During the 80s, it was literally Lakers, Celtics, and no one else. Okay, the Sixers won one in 81 or 80, but and the Pistons came late in the 80s. But there was no other teams. It was.
I think he can't win anymore.
No, you're wrong.
I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong.
You're wrong.
There's more teams now that
are
are better.
The Pistons, the Pacers were good.
Wait, in the 80s?
There was plenty of good teams in the 80s.
Okay, first of all, the 90s were owned by the Bulls, and if Jordan didn't retire...
Remember, this is our baseball guy.
That's fine.
This is our baseball guy.
That's fine.
This is the same guy that says Scottie Pippen's not a top 50 guy.
We're not getting into
this.
We're not getting into this.
That's fine.
All in all, to close out the NBA, if you're not excited for the NBA season... Then shame on you because it will be a very fun and intriguing season.
Who's your NBA team?
It would be the Knicks if I cared about the NBA, and I won't lie.
Would you care if
I
they
won't
had
lie
certain...
when I say part of my disinterest in the NBA is that James Dolan sucks.
Yes, I agree with him.
I'm a Magic fan, and they're not very on TV no more, and I never see them. So it's just I just watch the NBA now just to watch the NBA.
Did you become an Orlando Magic fan
When Shaq and Penny, in '94,
Yeah.
when I was a young kid. That's how I grew up as an Orlando Magic. Shaq and Penny, I remember having the dolls. Shaq had the Penny had the shoes with the little.
Before I go, hold on. What's gonna be the new nickname for this duo in Houston? Brook Hard Brook,
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious.
Hardbrook. I like that.
Hardbrook.
It's Hardbrook. Take a right at Hardbrook.
Western.
I love it. We're going to take a quick break, as you already can tell. Joe Guys here. Don't need any introduction. We'll talk about that. Severino, out for another 6 weeks. It's time for the Yankees to pull the plug on him for the rest of the year. We'll talk about that all. And second half, MLB talk. We'll be right back. Keys to the City.
Clovercrest Media Group presents a CMG podcast.
Normal guys, they can't do things that we can do.
We love football. Football's in our blood. Football's in our life.
Yeah, we got to build a tradition.
Were you not listening to me? Do you not?
I'm never listening to you, bro.
We're not just a podcast. We're trying to help people out and do better things for the community as well.
Very simple. Go do your job and get the job done.
A guy that he swung out and struck out 150 times and stop swinging at the slider 5 feet up. His stance is like this.
There's no other show like that. Two brothers, Keys to the City. What better name?
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Clovercrest Media presents the Keys Brothers, Keys to the City. And you already can see that Joe Aguirre's here as he was already talking some basketball. Nonsense over there. Now we got to talk to him about baseball.
This is our fun section.
By the way, did you watch the Home Run Derby?
I watched part of it. I heard part of it on the radio, and I got to tell you, I was really impressed.
I lost to Pete Alonso. And
Yeah.
I picked Vlad.
That was a good call.
I picked Vlad.
Here's the crappy part. Vlad's on my fantasy team, and 91
Imagine if he
home
gave you
runs.
91 home runs.
Yeah, because I got to tell you, he's been pretty disappointing so far from a performance standpoint. Really cool. That seems like where he or his dad would have really excelled in just swinging big swings for the fences.
I love the Home Run Derby. It was great. I thought it was unbelievable. The All-Star game, it's going to happen. That's what happens every year with the All-Star game. You expect to have a high-scoring game, and it's low-scoring. Pitching dominates, even though supposedly the balls are juiced.
So that's why the Home Run Derby is more interesting than the All-Star game.
Were you impressed by Tanaka for the inning and Chapman coming in 1, 2, 3? That must have been a good feeling as a Yankee fan to see Tanaka, especially Tanaka, because he gets me nervous.
Here's the thing
Who
about
you
Tanaka.
texting?
Oh, no, I'm
Chat-
sharing. I'm
Are you
sharing
texting
this.
Aroldis Chapman right
I'm
now?
sharing this across
Maybe
the
he's writing
mediums.
his next blog because, guys, if you haven't checked it out, check out Joe's blog on the roll call. He just
I
wrote
think
one
it's
up.
pretty obvious. Anybody that disagrees with it, I
Well,
think
no,
is
well, I was
not
gonna-
watching baseball.
Yeah.
This
Well,
year.
he wrote about Gary Sanchez and why he's the best catcher, and he really.
I think this year he has
kind
to
of
continue
fortifies his point because he said it about a week or two ago, and people got mad because they didn't read the damn article, and then when they reread it,
That's
he
why I
goes-
said
he
if you don't read it, don't comment.
Then
Yeah.
then he said through the popularity, about 100 or so comments, people were like, "Oh, you're right."
I saw about 350
I can-
people liked it.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It's getting a lot of traction. I got like 8 groups with over 150 likes
good.
and comments.
That's
so-
awesome.
So yeah,
Oh,
Joe has his weekly blog, whatever his
Whatever. It's not whatever.
Well,
It's a
no, I was
weekly
gonna say
blog.
whatever about Joe. Explain it.
Oh, so look, it's about Gary Sanchez and the fact that, look, he had a bad year last year, and I know people couldn't get off the 190 batting average, and he's lazy.
but he was
doesn't
dealing with
hustle.
injury all last
Look,
year,
he's a
too.
catcher. He squats most of the game. I don't think the Yankees care if he doesn't hustle out of the box. I'll take 117-mile-an-hour laser beam into the left field seats. Here, you don't want a guy who's stretching the groin all day to you want this guy out for the season running out a grounder he's going to be out on by 6 steps? I mean, seriously.
You want to see him do what he did in the All-Star game, rip a double down
Yes.
the
He
line, down
just
the third
be on
base line.
second.
And that's
It's
what
that
got
much
things,
easier.
it got things started.
It
again.
got the
The
whole game
major league
started.
average, I told you the guys this before, going first to third on a single is 42%. Sanchez does it 46% of the time. So he's an above average base runner even. So say what you want about the guy. Argue about his framing's not up to par. He's got 5 pass balls. That's obviously way down, but it's still 5. You can say what you want about the guy. Here's the thing. Somebody even said to me, maybe James McCann's in the conversation of best catcher. Ask any general manager
Brian
in
McCann?
No,
baseball.
Brian-
James
James
McCann, the White Sox
Yeah.
catcher.
Oh, okay.
Ask any GM in baseball who the best catcher is and who you would want to build your team around.
it's not even close.
30 times you would hear Gary Sanchez.
Yeah, it's
The
not-
only other-
It's foolish to
The
argue
only
it at
catcher
this
that
point.
people would bring up, I'm not saying pick, would be Contreras from the Cubs, and that's it.
and maybe the kid Realmuto, but
No,
but
Realmuto's
He's only-
overrated.
They've got the talent, and they could be.
Contreras and
they're the
Sanchez are the
only-
two best catchers in
They're
baseball.
the only considerations that
No-
would even be that you could
okay,
even
but first of all,
possibly
none of the
consider.
catchers in the league can compare to his hitting first. Okay,
Contreras and Sanchez are the two best catchers in baseball.
His arm, his pop-up time the second, I mean, the speed in which he throws the baseball. Again, you could say there's some flaws in the game overall, and Ted, right, with the hitting, it's not even close. You would be dishonest if you said any other catcher would be your guy, because that's stupid.
he's
the
up
game's
here, and the
about
number
home
2
runs.
hitter
Exactly.
is right down here.
How does it sound to have a Trevor on the Yankees?
I'm sorry, what?
How does it sound to have a Trevor on the Yankees? I'm
Uh,
not talking about me.
yeah,
I'm talking about Trevor Bauer.
that threw me.
Because
that
that's
threw
just-
me for a minute.
Yeah, I caught him off guard. That's the name that we're hearing is spicing up with the Yankees now. How do you feel about a Trevor Bauer?
See, I don't think that's going to happen because the Indians made a great push right before All-Star break, and now they're only 5.5 behind the Twins.
But the Yankees did it a
Yeah.
couple years back.
Best record in baseball for the month of
But
June.
remember we talked about it with Chapman and Miller a couple years ago. The Yanks were still in the wild card run, and they just completely traded both of them away. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I know they're in the Central
I'll let Joe
and the
answer.
wild card.
I think.
But what do you think about
well,
that?
Here's the thing. I do think Cleveland, is playing to try to win a division, to try to be a wild
they
card.
got
but
about 2 weeks to figure it out.
you do have to have an eye towards next season. You got to at least have these conversations. As long as you're right, in 2 weeks' time, you got to decide.
Because Kluber's still out.
But you got to start those conversations now. So those phone calls would be made now. You're reaching out to Cashman. You're trying to see what pieces could work.
I mean, Ken Rosenthal was
And you'll know
reporting
when-
it. That's
you'll know
the
when you
name
get
that's
there.
that's the name that's been
yeah,
associated.
I saw
associated
Bumgarner.
with
I
the-
still saw Bumgarner, and I also said, see where Marcus Stroman goes the next week or two and how he pitches and everything. That's another
Would
name.
you out of any?
I
of
think
these,
it's the same
would
3
you-
names. Go ahead.
Bauer, Stroman.
Bauer,
I
Stroman,
think
Bumgarner.
I like Stroman because of
Really?
the way he celebrates after strikeouts. I
I don't
just
care
get a
about a
kick out of
person
that.
celebrating.
No, I'm joking.
I want to win a championship.
No, again, look, this is what I'm saying. What am I giving up to get Marcus Stroman? If it's Clint Frazier, the answer is no. If it's Debbie Garcia, the answer is no. If it's Esteban Florial, no. If it's something else, I mean, we could talk, but I don't look, if you're going to get a guy And look, this rotation could certainly use another guy. But if you're going to get a guy, and especially if it's a
Are
guy
you starting to turn your view?
No, because if it's going to be a guy that you're going to have under contract for next season, you have to look. You're going to have 7 starters.
Well, Zach Wheeler's the other name, but I think the Red Sox are going to really push for him.
If you're not getting a legit ace, and I don't know how many are available
I think
or what it
Bauer-
would
I
take
think-
to get one,
I think Trevor Bauer is.
but if it's not Scherzer, I don't know if Bauer is for me.
I don't know if he's
He's like a 1B, maybe a 2.
Listen, when Tanaka's on,
Tanaka's
Tanaka's
great.
just as good.
That's
as
the
him, if not
question
better.
mark.
Yes.
Is when he's on.
And so is
Yes.
Paxton. Paxton could be that ace when he's on.
Yes.
Now we've gone
Out of all these pitchers, though, Bauer's the one guy.
Now,
that is-
yes, we-
that would be-
Again, look,
We've
here's
talked
the thing.
about this.
The Yankees could get Trevor Bauer, and he could make 12 starts down the stretch for him and go 6-6.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, if you go and get Max Scherzer, you're probably going 8-1. I'll take that over those 12 starts.
You remember what I said, though.
And that
I
would be
think you
worth
should say that,
that
so.
would be worth the move. I don't know that Trevor Bauer is better than James Paxton. I don't know if he's better. I don't know if he's better than Tanaka.
He's probably not. And this is what we've been talking about since we've been doing the show. Literally, what the three of us and everything is every week is the inconsistency of the Yankees pitching staff. We bashed Tanaka, and then he had a great outing. We bashed Paxton, he had a bad outing. We bashed what was it?
And we said J.A. Happ was
J.A.
great,
Happ,
and
yeah.
then he gets destroyed.
And then what was
CeCe, another guy. We talk about CeCe.
And then they do great. And then who was the hitter? We bashed Hicks.
Yeah.
It was like 2 weeks ago. We bashed Hicks, and in Tampa Bay he had the
last week.
He had the
It was last
Yeah,
week.
the 2 game time home runs like back-to-back nights. Well, good. Let's talk crap about more guys. Who's next?
Let's see Judge.
Yeah.
Judge needs to have a good second half.
Edwin
It'd be great to get him heated up.
Edwin
and Encarnacion. I'm going to start talking crap because this guy, if he could ever get going, man, that's just
He's been inconsistent.
Do you know he's got a
131.
23% pop-up rate?
That's bad.
The major league average is 8. I mean, right now, it seems like he's just a little off.
Just a little?
He's at 136, 4 homers,
Currently
7
136?
RBI since he joined the Yankees 15 games. So 136 average.
Nope.
He's pressing
131. I was right.
131. Anyway, he's
If he can ever get it going.
he's gonna hit some big home runs.
Okay, so
I'll say that. He's going to hit some, and he's going to get a chance to play in the second half.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Well, Voigt's supposed to be coming back soon.
So this is what the
Voigt's supposed to be
the
coming back.
post says, and then we'll ask the questions. 3 things the Yankees have to do to win the AL East: stay healthy, which that's obvious.
That's ridiculous.
Number 2,
first of all, that's a stupid thing to say because they haven't been healthy and it hasn't mattered.
No, it says.
I mean, again, this is like journalism 101. Here's what the Yankees need to do. They need to go out and what is
Now-
number 2? Get a starter?
No, it says fortify the bullpen.
No.
But that was
idiotic.
But that was your
It's
take, though.
idiotic.
You said
Again,
they-
it doesn't. No, what are you going to fortify it with? Do we need like the 6th guy to pen? Does it have to be Brad Hand?
Wasn't it you-
or the kid Kirby from the Padres?
No, but 2 weeks ago you said you
this
would rather
isn't
see
an
the Yankees.
all-star team.
I know, but you said you would rather see the
could
Yankees
be.
get a bullpen guy than a starter.
The idea they need to fortify the 6th best bullpen in baseball is stupid. Is what I'm saying.
What was the third one?
The third thing was get Stanton back healthy.
Sure.
Yeah, I know. No,
Yeah.
I'm
You know what? Dig Babe up from the grave and bring him back. That would also work. Those are all stupid. Look, the
Are you saying we
Yankees.
should not read the New York Post anymore? You just do the New York Post.
Listen,
Garbage. Let me tell you what they need to do.
they need to win.
They need to get some length out of these starting pitchers. These guys, look, if they're going to go 5 innings, give me a good 5.
Throw it, exactly.
Give me a good 4. I'll get you out of the 5th if we have to. I mean, who cares? The Yankees starting pitchers' records, with the exception of Germán, is poor.
This team is.
They're all like
No, it's
5 and 5.
It's 500.
They're all 5 and 5. But look at everybody in the bullpen except for Holder. Everybody's got
Your
winning
boy.
records.
That's your boy.
Yeah, that's how they've gotten
This
here.
team is championship or bust.
You get me 4 innings out of Happ, Paxton,
4. Dude, give me
Tanaka,
5.
and
You're a starting pitcher,
Sabathia.
Joe, in 2019. Give me 5.
Would you be?
It seems they're all struggling in the 5th inning.
Would you be upset?
Time and time again. Give me 4, or you know what? Give me Chad Green 3 times a week pitching the first inning. You go 2 through 5. Then let's turn it over to Ottavino and Canely and Britton and Chapman, and let's keep winning games.
Would you be upset if this Yankee team The way it is currently right now, if they didn't win a World Series.
We talked about that on the roll call last night, and I got to tell you, I think
Because at the beginning of the year, I think you were like, I could see there were Yankee fans like, if they don't win, it's all right. We're still built.
this is the year they were talking about when this all started in 2016.
2-3 years.
This is supposed to be the year. So I think if this team's not playing for the American League Championship Series, I think you would call this a disappointing season.
If they're not playing in the World Series.
Slow down. I'm saying I would call it a disappointing season. You know how I feel about that?
I think
this team's got to be in the World Series, or I think it would be. It would be. Again, I don't think it's fair to say not winning the World Series is a major disappointment. If this team's not playing for the chance to go to the World Series, that would be really, really bad.
That's more of a bust than last year's team. If they don't make it to the ALCS, it's more of a bust than I'll say it. Because last year, you know how I was about last year. I said it was a bust, but the Red Sox team was destined to win. They were the best team all year. If they don't get to the ALCS, it's more of a bust from the Yankees this year.
I would agree with that. I think this
I don't think
team,
it's a disappointment. That's not a disappointment. It's a bust.
Yeah.
It's a busted season. If they don't get to the ALCS at least.
I'm in the perspective of right now, the way I look at it, and it's just my opinion, that the Yankees are the best team in baseball.
I agree.
From top to bottom.
I don't care what the Dodgers record is.
Now,
They
I
are the
said to
best
Joe
team in
before the
baseball.
show, I still think Houston and the Dodgers have better starting pitchers. I can go up and say I'm going to put Verlander and Cole for 4 games in a 7-game series against you in the ALCS. And then if I'm playing the Dodgers, they can come Kershaw, Ryu, and Buehler. And Buehler is an ace too, and that kid's going to be a star. He's going to end up taking Kershaw.
So what did you say the other week?
And
last
I'm like,
weekend?
all right. And I'm like, all right. But other than that, the Yankees I think have the best offense in the baseball, and they have the best bullpen, and it's not even close.
What did you say last weekend?
But starters get you to the bullpen. You get. I said it to Joe too beforehand. If it was possible, and I know it's probably not,
It's
because
it's gonna
the
be impossible.
Nationals would probably ask for your house plus your neighbor's house. If you go get Scherzer, and it was a possibility. I'm not speaking like everyone else on these Facebooks, and they put up like, "Hey, let's trade everyone
Just
for
stop,
Mike
Yankee
Trout."
fan.
No,
Stop. You sound stupid.
If there was a legitimate thing where it's like, all right, we're going to keep Gio for the first future, and DJ's going to end up being our third baseman because Didi's going to be our shortstop, and Glaber's going to be our second. If you're going to get rid of, and you're going to say, all right, we're going to give Andujar, maybe we'll give Florio, and we're going to give one of our pitchers, our best pitcher or second best pitcher, right? And you're telling me you can go get Scherzer. That takes the Yankees, instead of being the same level, the way I look at it.
That separates them from everybody else.
That separates you above. That puts
That
you at the top
separates
of the
them
mountain
from the pack.
Because the way I look at Scherzer, he's a dog. He's an animal.
He's an alpha.
And I'm telling you, he would fit into the Yankee crowd. The Yankee crowd would. I'm trying to think of a Yankee pitcher, David Wells, but not the same type. But it just kind of like
David
come
Cone,
at you.
David Cone.
Fighter.
Roger Clemens.
Yeah.
Just not steroids.
I'm telling you, it would put them over the top.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I know.
But,
No, it's not going to
but-
happen.
No.
That's a hypothetical.
It's not going to happen. But if it did, this is what and I've said this before. There's 2 guys that I would trade the farm for.
Really?
One
Farm?
Scherzer, 2 DeGrom. I would.
Do we
I
have
would.
that on tape?
I would. Because listen, I agree with you. Look, those guys. If you picked either one of them up,
It separates.
and
you.
they get 12 starts down the stretch here for the Yankees, 10 wins.
And they're under contract
Like,
for the next 2 years. Too.
10 wins, right? And you're keeping them. Then I would be
I'm all
fine
in. I'm
with
all
it.
in for it.
I would be fine with that. Plus, it's National League teams.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to send these young guys, I don't want them in the division.
Yeah, exactly.
Not for Marcus Stroman, not for Trevor Bauer. I don't want to see these guys.
I don't want to see Cliff
I don't want
Frazier.
these guys to stop me from going to a World Series the next couple of years because I wanted to win so bad this year. Because, again, I think the Yankees starting rotation as is, if everybody's right and pitching to their capabilities,
It's still good enough to win the World
Is that-
Series.
is good enough to win the
Is
World
that
Series,
saying
and I
that,
think can compete with the Astros, the Rays, any team in baseball.
Is that with? Are you saying that with a Severino? or
I'm
the
not. I'm saying where we currently sit. If Severino makes it back, then I think it's another step
Here's
up
the
for the
thing:
Yankees.
you could, and I agree with you. I know what you're thinking. You're like, Joe, it's not. But you know what?
I don't.
It
see
is
that.
because when they do pitch right, and I know it's always a question mark, But
I don't want to have a question
Hold
mark
on.
going
Listen.
into Game
Hold on.
7.
You know what? Listen, you're exactly right, Ted. And here's why Trevor doesn't know what he's talking about. Go and look up. Go to baseballreference.com. Go look at all of the Yankee starters who are currently in the rotation. Each of those guys has spun a game of 6 innings with 2 hits or less and 10 strikeouts.
I know.
They're as good as any staff in the league. The problem is you see the inconsistency because you follow it day to day. What's Trevor Bauer's record?
I don't
What's
even know.
Bauer's record?
I can't see. I want to see. I can see that happening, but I also.
What's Trevor Bauer's record?
Look it up.
I mean, look, we know Stroman's 3-9, good ERA. Again, I always say winners find ways to win games.
Joe, I am agreeing with you that happens. I've seen it happen with them.
You want to know?
I don't
Bauer,
wanna-
you want to know Bauer's record? Oh, well,
Is
there
it
it
8
is.
and
It's-
5?
just turn around.
Yeah.
Just turn around. It's right there. 361, 86, 8-6, 140. Now, I mean, listen, it's good numbers. Now, maybe those numbers would be 10-4 if he's on the Yankees because the offense is much better. But here's my thing.
Not
The difference
not
be-
too much different than
Okay,
Paxton.
Here's the difference the way I look at it. And Trev, I agree with you. Trevor Bauer's another good arm. The difference is he's no different than Paxton and Tanaka when they're on. Scherzer, DeGrom when they're on are lights
case.
out.
Yes.
Here's my case.
Go ahead.
I can see those guys doing that, a Paxton or a Tanaka, because we've seen them do it. We've seen them over time. But if it's a Game 7 and it's a chance to go to the World Series against Verlander,
Give me Tanaka.
I need that performance.
I know.
I can't have 2 innings pitched with giving up 5 earned runs.
But it's not-
and then that's it. That's what I
It's
can
not
see
like
them doing
Verlander,
it,
though,
but
hasn't
you-
had bad games, though.
but
In the playoffs.
against the Yankees,
I know.
he does pretty damn well.
I know he does.
We've seen Tanaka be great, but we've also seen Tanaka give up, I don't know, the other day against the Red Sox, 6 runs. That's what I'm trying to say is that we've seen Tanaka at his best, but we've seen Tanaka at his worst. I trust Justin Verlander more than I do James Paxton or a Tanaka.
And here's the problem.
or
There's
Jay
going to be
Happ.
no
But
Verlander.
But do you trust Trevor Bauer?
No, I do not either.
Then you've
If I
answered
go-
my
if I-
question.
if
And
I-
neither do I
and
trust
if
Stroman
but
because
no,
he's never been in the playoffs.
But no, that's what I'm trying to say. If you go after like a Scherzer or DeGrom, then the
Here's
then
the-
the
all
odds,
in.
then the odds, but the odds.
here's
I
the-
agree.
That's
You're
it.
talking about that extra caliber. You're talking about guys like Kershaw.
Yes.
When you're talking those guys,
Yes.
I would give you anything.
Bauer's the
For
same
one
as
of those
that.
guys.
Here's
I don't
maybe
trust
the
Bauer
one guy, though,
over
I would
Verlander.
trust, even though he's
Bumgarner.
not. Is Bumgarner only because
His
he's
postseason
been
record
there.
is
Only
unbelievable.
because he's been. Now, here's the problem: Bauer and Stroman are better guys. They are just better guys right now at their age limit and where they are in their careers.
But with Bumgarner,
But can Bumgarner give me 5 strong innings in Game 4 of Yankee Stadium or at Fenway?
I greatly value playoff experience.
Yes.
I
think it's huge.
I often feel like a team that loses a wild card this year is a team that's going to win a division and maybe a divisional series the next year. You build off of those kinds of experience. Your first time, I mean, we talked about Severino against the Twins a couple years ago. His first is literally, he had never been in a playoff game at any level of baseball in his life.
He said he was psyched out.
Oh yeah, and you're at Yankee Stadium in an elimination game.
That place was
There's
buzzing.
there's
I'll
no
never
more
forget that,
pressure
yeah.
in sports than that venue, and he buckled. That's fine. So experience is important.
That's why Paxton
But-
I worry about because he hasn't been there.
But
other guys have.
Jay Happ
Has.
last year with experience went into Fenway and didn't pitch well.
No, absolutely. You're 100%
So-
right.
I like Bumgarner. Bumgarner's kind of like Happ. I mean, he's a younger version
You know,
of Happ,
if we had
but he's not the 20. He's not the guy that had the playoff experience was
not
a
the same
good
guy.
pitcher.
Let me be honest.
This guy 5 years
If
later.
you get if Bumgarner and Tanaka were your 1-2 in the postseason, I like that because I know Tanaka is good in the postseason as well. We've seen him be dominant, and we know what Bumgarner.
And then I think
we know what Bumgarner.
And I think with Joe's thing,
Bumgarner's like an-
Domingo Herman goes to the bullpen. He becomes your long relief with Green, and you play
Bumgarner's
them
like
other night. You say Tanaka, give me 4 innings. I'm
Yeah.
going to bring in Herman for
No,
5,
screw that.
6,
Tanaka
and
could
5,
give you-
6, and 7,
Tanaka
maybe.
could give you 6 strong in the postseason.
No, I want him to give me 4 or maybe 5 and 1/3 innings solid. I bring Herman in for 2 innings, and then I go Ottavino, Britton, and Chapman. The next night I
Don't
come
forget
in
about
with,
Tommy K.
Then the
or
next time I go
Benitez.
Bumgarner, I
Yeah,
say
but
that's no.
Benitez.
Tomorrow night, Canley pitches.
And with Betances.
You could. We talked about this. A way where they could use these guys and piece games together. And I'm telling you, when you get to the postseason, That's been sort of that, and that's what Cleveland did in 2016. There's no reason the Yankees, assuming they can win 100 games, win that division, why they can't employ openers and bring in guys in at weird times. All bets are off in the postseason. I think that what the Yankees currently have on their team, in the rotation, and in the bullpen is enough to get you 4 wins in a 7-game
They got
series.
6. If they get Betances back, they have 6
What's the
lights out guys.
And again, where do you put Betances if he does
You
come
could
back?
put him in an opener.
Someone's got to get dropped.
He'd be perfect.
What do you think the percentages they did, like, drop the bombshell and go after
No one.
Scherzer?
Not even close.
Here's the thing. Brian
You even give it a
Cashman.
1% chance?
I'll give it a 1%
I
chance.
give everything a 1% chance.
I'll give it a 1%
Okay,
chance.
how about a
because
5% chance?
That's a little crazy. I'll give you
Wow,
one
that
because
is
I think
crazy.
it's
Realistic?
It is realistic because of who he is, and the cost would be great. I think the Yankees still have enough talent in the farm system that they could offer a package that would be acceptable
For who?
for the Nationals.
But if the Nationals come back and say we want Torres, nope, see you later.
I don't think the Mets are going.
Right.
I don't think
See
the
you
Mets are
later.
going to trade Zach Wheeler to the Yankees because they're not going to want to see one of their young guys succeed in
Right.
in the Step Brothers neighborhood.
I want to close out with this.
I was going to ask you
Go ahead.
before you close out.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, what's our overall expectations for the second half? I know we talked about this next week.
I expect the Yankees to be
Win the division,
consistent,
number 1 seed.
That consistent that they've been throughout the year, offensively, clutch hitting, runners in scoring position. I expect Gary Sanchez,
Mike Trout to win MVP.
I expect Gary Sanchez to pull off 40 home runs, and Ted's going to be owing somebody a nice sum.
That's fine because I hope we go to that pizza house and, we go eat the chicken
I
parms
still
together.
expect DJ LeMahieu to win MVP.
You're
I'm sticking
opening
with that.
the second half with Toronto, Tampa, Boston.
Are they home or away?
mean,
No, the first 10 they're home. First 10
Right?
they're home. First 10 they're home.
They're playing tonight.
there's a lot
Nice.
of division games
Is Stroman pitching at
right
all?
off the bat.
I gotta look.
Yeah,
at
this
Stroman.
weekend he
I want
is.
to see if Stroman's pitching.
If the Yankees take advantage, win all of these series to start, then
over. Mark it down.
smooth sailing.
Yeah, because we said the end of July going into August, the Yankees play the Red Sox 8 out of the 10 games.
Yep.
So there's 4, 2 against Arizona, and then 4 more against the Red Sox. And that realistically, that'll pretty much solidify the division. Because
they'll either let Tampa and Boston back in it, or at that point, it'll be so. We'll be out and away.
you said it last week. If they play 500 baseball, there's no way they're gonna give up.
Armand's
the division.
pitching.
500 baseball gets the Yankees to 94 wins. So if they play 6 games over
Now-
500, they're at 100 wins.
Armand's pitching.
Now
tonight.
we play.
I'll take it.
Now here's the question. Well, we'll talk about it, I guess. You play for the 1 seed. You always play for the 1 seed.
Oh, absolutely.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, of course. You don't want to be playing. You want to be the number 1 team.
I think
I'm
the
not
Yankees.
thinking
Well, no,
anything less.
yeah.
I think the Yankees, more than any team in baseball, understands the value
Have
of
Game
not
7
being
home.
the wild card.
Yeah.
You
they
want-
No, I'm not
see
thinking
plenty
wild. I'm
of
not
it.
thinking wild card, but I don't think this year for the first time
You
in a while,
want-
Yankees don't fear the Red Sox.
You
in the race.
want Game 7 at Yankee Stadium. You don't want it in Houston, and you sure as hell don't want it in Boston.
Yeah, because I bet in 2 years.
I mean,
ago,
Minnesota, that's different, or Tampa, that's fine. But you don't want it in Boston.
2 years
or
ago,
Houston.
if Game 7 was at Yankee Stadium, the Yankees win and they go to the World Series.
Hell,
Yeah.
I'll take it with Cleveland too. I'll go if we have to go to Cleveland. I'm just teams that have a chance. Last thing, you think the Yankees are just? I don't know what they're doing with Severino. Do you think they should just pull the plug now with him getting? It's postponed another 6 weeks now.
Well, somebody said-
are we just? Why are we? I think they should just put him in surgery instead of putting him in surgery in October.
I'll put him in surgery in August.
No, but and then miss almost half of the year next year.
So
if it's a serious shoulder injury.
I'm gonna speculate 100% here. I think Severino is not coming back this season.
I've been saying I don't think he
and
is. He's not
I
coming back.
think the reason why the Yankees
There it is. There it is.
continue
4 more weeks. 6
the
more
reason
weeks.
why they're continuing to act like he might be is because if he's not coming back, all of a sudden, if I'm another GM, I feel like you're a little more desperate. And I could probably ask you for a little bit more. If he's coming back,
Just read the first sentence.
then you're probably a little bit cooler about everything.
Still not close.
So he needs 6 more weeks before he'll even be ready to game
Joe,
action. So
I'd
by
rather
then,
see- I'd
by
rather-
then it's in middle of August. There's no way he'll be ready.
Here's my thing. I'd rather see them or have him go into surgery than to continue because we're talented enough.
Trevor,
to
he
win.
might not need surgery. He just might need rest and rehab. And
How
just,
much more rest do you need?
Trev,
You've been out for the
Trev,
entire-
you don't do surgery on a lat strain.
What if it's more than that? What if the Yankees aren't telling us fully everything?
Then they would be fined and they'd be in big trouble. But let's say
they
that
got the money.
let's say that they are
got the
doing
money.
what you're saying. Maybe he's already had surgery. I'm
But
telling
they're
you,
talented enough. They're still talented enough to win without him.
I
They are
think the
talented
reason that they keep sort of baiting he's coming back and then keep pushing it back is because he's not. And I really do think that means your ace is out for the year, which means you definitely need another ace.
And teams know that.
Yes. So it's, as long as I can keep up the illusion he's coming back, I don't seem so desperate. Things seem like they'll just be fine. I think it's a little bit of gamesmanship on Cashman's part.
I think the Yankees should start having this all-in approach like the NBA teams.
Yeah.
All-in approaches. What do you think these NBA teams are doing? Kawhi Leonard, Clippers.
But you need
the
superstars to win. You don't need
Max
superstars.
Scherzer's a superstar. All in.
I'd go for that. I would.
All in, bro. You want to win a championship? You got to make.
I would just like
you
to
gotta
know
make
what
the risky moves.
I would just like to know
sometimes.
what would be a realistic trade for Scherzer. You know, I mean, I'm being dead honest.
I
Like-
told you anything that.
Well,
if they mention Torres' name, see you
Louis
later.
Cessa is not in the deal.
No, I know
We all
that.
agree on that.
But,
No,
yeah,
that's a joke. I think it would take
maybe
a
Jonathan
Debbie
Holder.
It would take Debbie Garcia, Clint Frazier, Dario Estrada.
How about Florio?
They don't
I
need
think-
outfilders.
I was gonna say I would
I
think
don't
too.
think
It
they
would
do.
either be I want Frazier or Florio. You wouldn't. You're not gonna. You don't want. What would you get? Both. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah, and you would rather have Frazier because you know what he's already going to be done.
Right.
And you team him up with Soto. Juan
Yeah.
Soto.
Oh, that'd be pretty great.
And then who's their center fielder? It used to be
I
Adam.
don't really
forget.
oh yeah,
Used to
yeah,
be
yeah,
Ian.
yeah.
But they got
Adam
some.
Eaton's
They got
still
some
there?
good players.
Adam Eaton's
Trey
still there.
Turner. They have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They got some players there.
And they're still in contention. That's
Here's
why
the thing.
I don't see them.
And here's the thing. You
making
still
it.
got Patrick Corbin. You still have Strasburg.
You have to go all in.
And you're gonna have to probably give up draft picks.
The only other trade I do consider a possibility, and it's almost some people will kind of laugh it off, but Louis Castillo from Cincinnati.
Yes, I would agree with you.
I don't think it'll happen
because-
because he's young and the Reds
but
got to
look,
build something.
If it's him and Frazier, him for Frazier, they're both under club control for a long time since he's going nowhere. I know they haven't developed starting pitching, so you kind of
Technically-
want to hang on to that. But
They're still in the running for the NL Central.
if you're going to trade a need for a need, their pitching stinks, but their outfield production is pretty
yeah,
poor
but when you want to
too.
keep a young ace over a hitter,
But
which
what if I threw?
you're gonna have to throw a pitcher in there.
I would. And I look,
Louis Sessa.
Louis Sessa. They can have the
And Jonathan
Jonathan Holder.
and Holder. Take them both. No, I mean, again, it's not going to be Debbie Garcia. He's the kind of the crown jewel, but maybe a Michael Caine.
Hey, I tell you, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
And
Me
I'm
or
asking,
him? I
No,
don't
I'm
know
asking.
who you're
I'm
talking
asking
to.
both of you.
Yeah. Well, then
Because he's up
I'm
for-
speaking for both of us.
Because
yes.
he's up for free agency. Would you trade Betances with the Frazier deal? Knowing you already have bullpen guys, and they don't have any bullpen. They don't have any bullpen. That's their biggest
I don't
issue.
want to take a chance.
They
with
don't
Betances,
have
'cause You
bullpen.
can use a Betances for an opener if you wanted to.
No, I know, but you have 5 other guys. You
Oh
picked up.
man.
If they say
Nah.
so,
I would-
Betances
for who? Just Castillo?
No, so this is what I'm thinking. This is a realistic thing.
That's smart.
Miguel Andujar, Clint Frazier, and Betances for Scherzer, and maybe you have to throw in Estrada.
Sign me up. Keep it. Don't
He's
give
not
me
going to
four-
play.
Don't give me 4 for 1.
He's not going
Don't
to
give me
play.
4 for
That's
1.
good.
Trev,
I like the 3 for 1.
they gave up 6 players for Anthony Davis.
It's going to be 4 for 1, maybe 5, maybe some international draft pool
I'm just
money.
thinking he's going to be a free agent and he's going to want to get paid. The Nationals say, you know what? We haven't had a closer. We haven't had anyone since Papelbon. We can't close games out. If we put him in the ninth, at least we have a closer. We
That's
still
a
have,
real- that's a
and we still have
realistic
2
trade.
starters.
That is
I think Betances too had to look at them signing Britton and
But he'd
realize
have to come back and play.
He's the odd man out.
I'm the odd man out here.
But he also has to come back and perform in the next 2 weeks.
That's a realistic trade. Got to go all in sometimes.
And I don't think it
Look
is.
at these NBA teams. You want to win a championship? All in approach.
It doesn't help that he's hurt, though. They're not going to trade for a guy
No,
that's
I
hurt.
know that's true.
And you can't.
But you got to go all in. You want to win a World Series? Sometimes you got to go all
I
in.
think the Mets should trade all their names and build for the future. Trade a Syndergaard or DeGrom and go get the house. They should. You build with the kid McNeil. You build with the kid Alonso. You got some other young talent. You still got some young pitchers. They definitely should give up Zach Wheeler.
too smart for the Mets.
I know.
Too smart.
Who do you-
They never do the smart
Who do you
thing.
think wins the batting title? Is it more likely McNeil or is it LeMahieu?
I think LeMahieu will.
I think it's McNeil. Just
I think this kid's a much. Here's the thing about McNeil. The league's going to figure him out a little bit. You're going to see a dip in the second half. It would be there's a reason rookies don't generally win MVPs and batting titles, and that's a reason.
Hey, Alonso's going to have a tough time winning Rookie of the Year. Fernando Tatis and the kid for the Braves. I saw it on the paper. I forget. Last name starts with an M.
Oh,
Where's-
Riley?
No,
Austin Riley?
Muscala or something. He's one of the Braves kids. He might be the pitcher. He pitched in the.
We should ask that.
But no, I mean Alonso's
Yeah.
gonna have a tough time winning. The
Well, they
Rookie
just won they won their World Series. They won something.
We
this
didn't
year.
talk about it, but I know we should talk about it soon. The juice balls. I think it's great for baseball.
We'll talk about it.
Opinion.
I hate it, and it's not right.
We'll talk about it next
You
week.
just said you liked
It's
it.
only continuing.
I thought you said you liked it for baseball.
No.
The Mets won the World Series on Tuesday.
Joe wants to watch.
Monday night.
Joe wants to watch 2-1.
The Mets won something on Monday.
Joe,
I like pitching.
Can I tell you something? I watched the whole Yankee game in London against the Red Sox because the game was interesting. I would not watch the 5-hour game if it was 2-1.
Well, and that's why I know the balls were definitely juiced, because they didn't want to give these, like, people sitting there drinking their tea and crumpets and like, well, this is boring. There hasn't been a hit in 4 innings. They wouldn't have enjoyed it, so they sent extra juiced balls for those games.
Like the bongo balls you used to buy as a kid.
97 mile an hour was the average exit velocity on all balls hit that series. That's ridiculous.
Sounds good to me.
Let's hope the Yanks start off hot with the 3-game sweep of the Toronto Blue Jays.
It won't happen.
Yeah.
Their starters in this series average an ERA about 5.5.
All in all, Yankees, go all in. Take a chance. Be risky. You ain't going to lose a job. You want to win a title. That's what it's about this year for the Yankees. Nothing but a title. That's what the mantra should be for the Yankees here on out. Ladies and gentlemen, we are signing off, Joe, as always.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And hey, listen, if you missed some of the stuff, Joe also has his own podcast, The Roll Call. Joe, if you want to.
Yeah, you know what? You should visit clovercrestmedia.com. You find the roll call. Obviously, Keys to the City's on there. We got Fenway fodder for the Red Sox fans. In stores now.
MMA? You got an
we got
MMA?
MMA mad. Dude, there's
a lot going on.
Got a lot of good quality sports programming, so make sure you check it out. You can also find my Medium blog there. We got a whole bunch of people doing something right, and the Keys brothers are going to be doing something right about the New York Giants this fall.
We can't get
We're excited about
training camp
that.
tickets. They're already sold out.
Damn. Well,
We
if you
missed
didn't
out.
get to see today's show, don't worry. You'll be able to see it later on tonight.
It'll be on YouTube.
It'll be YouTube. We are coming out with our YouTube channel, so stay tuned for that for people that missed it. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful weekend. We'll be back next week. Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. We are out.
Yeah. Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.